Hello, good evening, and welcome back after a break. So yeah, Kamalnath, good evening. Namaskaram, Karthik. Yes, I'm also happy to be back. Okay, slowly, still recovering. Might take another month or so, but happy to be back. So, welcome to another AMA session. Ask me anything. So normally, what I do is I talk about a topic for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then it's open for questions. You can ask me anything, and I will try to answer to my maximum capacity. Yeah, Bhupendra, good evening. Good to see you. So let's start today. From where we left, we were talking about the Panchakarmas. We finished three. Today is the fourth. It's Vasti here. Okay, so we'll talk about Vasti today. So ask me anything weekly sessions. These sessions happen every Tuesday at 9 p.m. IST, okay, Indian Standard Time, and it goes live on my YouTube channel. After I talk about 5 or 10 minutes about a topic, then it's open to questions. So here we go. Today is Panchakarma and we are talking about Vasti. So let's start. Okay. So Chikitsa or treatment. Vasti comes under the Panchakarma treatment. So Chikitsa or treatment is basically classified broadly under two. One is Shamana and the other one is Shodhana. Okay. So Shamana means how you pacify it, and Shodhana is basically purification. And Vasti comes under purification. We'll get into that slowly. So before we do the Shodhana, it's very important that you prepare the person. And preparing is called the Purva Karma, where we do the Snehana and the Svedana. Snehana is giving, we call that oleation, or what do you call lubrication, both internally and externally. And Svedana is making the person sweat. After that, the Pradhana Karma, that is basically the Panchakarma, the 5 karmas, and Vasti is among that. And the Paschat Karma is post the Panchakarma, how you take care of the person. Okay. Now coming to Vasti. So Vasti is basically administration of medicine through the anal canal. That means for people to understand that easily, we may call it enema, but enema is not the right word for it, because enema is usually given if you have got problems in passing motions. But Vasti is not that. So probably we can call that medicated enema, where we push in medicines, make the person lie down and push in medicines through the anal canal, where the medicine gets into the large intestine, and then we call that the koshta. It gets the large intestine and then it comes out. So in that process, because Pakwashaya, what we call that, it's the sthana of Vata. Vasti is best for Vata dosha. So good, it's basically good for all the three doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, but specifically more effective for Vata dosha. Now let's try and see the different kinds of Vastis. Okay, the basic classification. You have got Anuvasana Vasti or the Sneha Vasti, where administration is done with oil. Okay, Kashayam or Niruha Vasti is the Vasti which is done using a decoction, predominantly decoction. You do have oil, honey, you do have a paste, little bit of medical paste in that, and also salt in that, but it's predominantly a decoction. That's why it's called Kashaya Vasti or Niruha Vasti. Then you've got something called Uttara Vasti. Uttara actually means top or front. So the Vasti which is given from the front, okay, that means through the genitals, is called Uttaravasti. So in males, it is due through the penis, but in the female, it can be through the vagina or through the urethra. So females can be given through two ways, while in men, it's given directly only through the urethra, through the penis. So you have got three types, Snehavasti. So see, one Vasti which is given through the anal canal, and one which is given Uttaravasti. And one is given which is given through the anal canal is again divided into two. You can call that as Snehavasti and Kashaya Vasti. Now, other types. On action, according to Sushruta, by action, Vasti has been divided into Shodhana, which helps for cleansing, Lekhana, which helps for scraping. That is actually good for people who are planning to lose a little bit of weight, or they've got too much of kapha. Brahmana is basically to give for vata people who have been extremely emaciated so that you put on weight. That's called brahmana. And snehana is to lubricate the person. Okay. So now what we do is we try to get into different other types of vasti. So by number of days, you have got something called yoga vasti, which is normally given for 8 days. You see that there's 5 sneha vastis and 3 kashaya vastis. That means you start, see, mostly kashaya vasti is not something which is given as a standalone vasti. It is, now we start with a snehavasti and also end with a snehavasti. So we never give, okay, when you say 3 kashayavastis, then you try to say, here you see 3 kashayavastis. So you start with a snehavasti, then you see 2 snehavastis, 1 kashayavasti, then snehavasti, then kashayavasti, then snehavasti, then kashayavasti, then snehavasti. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So normally you start with 2 snehavastis. You see that the gut is actually lubricated before you start the kashayavasti. Because kashayavasti is something which is strong and the quantity also is high, close to about a liter or sometimes more than a liter. So that is how yoga vasti is. Mostly in most clinics, we follow yoga vasti. When you have got severe vata issues, we might go for kala vasti sometimes. Okay, that is 15 days. Likewise, again, you start with 2 snehavastis. Okay, then it is a kashayavasti, snehavasti, kashayavasti, snehavasti, kashayavasti, snehavasti, kashayavasti, snehavasti, kashayavasti. So you have got 9 snehavastis, and then you have got 6 kashayavastis. So you start with 2 and you end with 2 kalavastis there. Likewise, you do also a karmavasti, which can go for about 28 days, 25 days, or 30 days sometimes a month of vasti. That is again, you have got kashayavastis in between, and predominantly it is also snehavasti to see so that the patient does not go extremely dry. Okay, so this is how vasti is basically done. And you have got different ways of doing vastis. Nowadays, people have used an enema can, which they hold it on top, and the vasti flows by gravity. So in my opinion, that might not be very effective because it doesn't travel too much in if you don't give it pressure. So we use, nowadays people use a disposable packet or a cover where you fill the liquid, and you've got something called a Vasti yantra where we squeeze it with pressure into the anal canal. So what happens, the Vasti dravya or the liquid travels farther. If it is by gravity, it does not travel too much inside. So we want to use the Vasti yantra, and this is called Vasti. See, this treatment is basically called Vasti because of 2 major reasons. One is that the what you call the cover or the packet which you use to hold the liquid used to be made from a goat's bladder. Okay, so it's soft and you can squeeze it. That's why it's called Vasti. A bladder is called Vasti. Another reason is that when you give a Vasti, you don't, when you make the person lie down, and you don't enter straight, you enter the Vasti yantra pointing towards the Vasti of the patient. Okay, so that's very important. So when you point it towards the Vasti of the patient, it actually goes in, get directly into the rectum, and then beyond that into the gut. So you can't give it too fast, you can't give it too slow, it should not be too hot, it should not be too cold. There are a lot of reasons, there are a lot of conditions which have been put. Okay, so Vasti is something which is not very easy for us to do. Snehavasti is simple, okay, but Kashayavasti you have to be slightly careful. Don't do without a very trained doctor doing it for you. Okay. So this is a little bit about Vasti. If you've got questions, you can start asking. Okay. There you go. So let's start taking the questions. Yeah, good evening, good evening. Sitaram Sahu. Okay. For Pittaja issues such as Grahani, is any specific Vasti indicated? Normally, for Pittaja condition, for Grahani can be correlated with IBS sometimes. Okay, the disease Grahani is, Graha means to hold. If you are not able to hold the food, in the sense, if you eat food, you want to immediately pass motions, that means the holding of the food is not happening in the gut. And it is more, you have got the problem with Pachaka Pitta, and you have got the problem with what you call the samana vayu. It is not majorly a property of apana vayu. So yes, even though you can use vasti for it, but I would still say, it is basically more of a pitta roga. Okay. uh, Mild virechana and grahi medicines actually work much better for grahani. Yes, if you want to give a vasti, we do give vasti, and we normally do a karma vasti for that, for not for more than 8 days. But I would say it's always good for you to see that you try to manage it with shamana dravya. Okay. By pacifying it, because grahani, you have got, Maharogas, 8 Maharogas. Grahani is one among that. Vata Vyadhi, Ashmiri, Kushtha, Meho, Udara, Bhagandran. Okay. Arshamsi, Grahani, Ityashtau, Roga, Sudustara. That means difficult to cure. So in these, so specifically in Grahani Roga, there is a depletion of energy for the person. So I would say you should be able to manage it with mild purgatives and shavana dravyas. Can Snehavasti only be given without Kashayavasti? Yes, Kamalnath. Okay. Snehavasti can be given only without Kashayavasti. It's a standalone thing. But one thing you should note that, normally we say that if you give a Kashayavasti, the first muhurta, that means 45 to 48 minutes, is the time for the Kasha. Whatever drivya you have given inside, you have administered inside, is the time for it to come out. So if it doesn't come out within that stipulated time, within one muhurta, then the complications start. The person starts really feeling weak. He can pass out also. We have seen cases where that happened. That is because the Kashayavasti is slightly on the stronger side and close to more than almost a liter. But Snehavasti, when you give it, it normally comes out within, might be again 45 minutes to 1 hour. Or if it doesn't come out, okay, then also no problem. You should understand that the gut was too dry, that the Sneha failed to come out. Okay, so if a Snehavasti you administer doesn't come out, it is fine. But a Kashayavasti, you should see that it comes out within one muhurta. Snehavasti you can give as a standalone, but Kashayavasti, no. Normally we don't do it as a standalone. Yeah, Bhupendra. Bhupendra. Okay. My mother keeps getting cough or phlegm, which is very sticky and stubborn and difficult to remove. Any suggestions to help easy removal? Yeah, Bhupendra. So I suppose that your mom might be having cough right now. Okay, there is one reason why it. When you look at text, it explains very clearly that during the cold season, especially the winters, the kapha increases and kapha it gets accumulated in the body. And when the sun starts shining, when it starts getting hot, you'll notice that the kapha which is accumulated during those cold season will start melting and start coming out. We see a lot of people with running nose and cough and stuff like that with a lot of phlegm. Okay, so here I would advise that she takes some medicines. See, when she has got cough, the first approach should be to see that the phlegm comes down. Okay, so when you have got cough with phlegm, you may consider that as a wet cough. Okay, so my approach would be, I can just give you one medicine, but I would always say it's always good for you to go to a doctor and see what best suits her. Just for example, I'm giving you Dashamula Kadutarayam, okay, Kashayam. So I'm telling you my experience also. Let me put it this way. There was one patient who came to me, okay, who had undergone a treatment with another doctor for cough with phlegm. This was during my early days. So the patient came to me and said, I've been suffering cough for the past 2 weeks. I went to an Ayurveda doctor, I took those medicines, and my cough is not better. Okay. So I said, okay. So what medicine did you take? Show me the prescription. He said, I took Dashamula Kadatrang Kashayam with Talisa Patradi Churnam with honey. So I looked at the notes which she's written on top, she's written a triangle, she's delta, and she's written cough with phlegm for so many days and things, stuff like that. So I asked him, okay, now how is it? She said, cough is still the same. So I asked, I used the stethoscope, oscillated him and asked him, how is the phlegm? He said, phlegm and all is gone. Okay. So what I told him is, okay, now what you can do is you can stop this kashayam and take Vidaryadi kashayam. Okay. And what you do is the Talisa Patra, the churnam, you add half ghee and half half ghee and half honey and take the medicine. So I told him, you take this medicine and let me know after a week. Okay. And what so happened that within a week his cough went away. So he came to me complaining about the other doctor. But in my opinion, what the other doctor did was really good. That's where I also learned a lesson. So when a patient comes to me with cough with phlegm, when I write a medicine for them and ask them to take it for 2 weeks, I tell them very clearly this medicine will give you a little bit of relief in your cough, but my main approach is to remove the phlegm or the kapha from your system. Okay, once that is removed, okay, then the kapha cough becomes a vata cough. Then it is easier to manage the vata cough. Okay, so I would say, Bhupendra, in your mother's condition also, she's got cough with a lot of sticky phlegm. The first approach should be to give medicines where the phlegm comes down. Once a phlegm comes down, then it becomes a dry cough. It is easier to maintain a cough. So if you give medicines which suppress the cough, what happens is the phlegm is not released. It can again come back after a point of time. Okay, so I suppose I've answered your question, Bhupendra. What is the next one? How Sitaram, how Kerala Panchakarma techniques are different from other parts of India? Always wondering, is there a specific term Kerala Panchakarma? There isn't a specific term called Kerala Panchakarma. There isn't, even though people use it. I will tell you how it is different. Okay, the kinds of massages and the way which we apply heat and all those things. Yes, it has been definitely mentioned in the text of Ayurveda, but in Kerala, what happens is we have got the influence of the martial art kalari, okay, which was more due towards the south of India, okay, the Kerala and the districts of Kanyakumari, which in those days used to be part of the whole Kerala. So that part of Kerala, kalari fight and that martial arts and all those things were very popular, and they always had a chance of getting injured. So management of injury and stuff like that was very, very, very popular. For that, they used to do the massage with the hand, massages with the elbow, massages with the feet, and a lot of things, applying heat. Normally, when you look at the text, you'll see, after the Sneha, Sweda is done only for a day. But when you look at in Kerala, we do it for a couple of days, Sweda. And then apart from that, other things like Virechana, Vamana, Vasti, and all those things are not different. You will see that the Snehana and the Purva Karmas, which we use for the Panchakarma, are the preparatory things, okay, are slightly different and more elaborate than what they use in the other part of India. But by and large, I would not want to say there is something called a specific Kerala Panchakarma, even though people call it like that. Karthik, how can I maintain enough vitamin D and vitamin through a vegetarian diet without supplements? I'm usually deficient in both and want natural food and lifestyle ways to improve levels. Karthik, I would also want to ask you what is your daily routine? Okay, just ask yourself. You don't have to answer. Just think about that. That means, are you getting enough rest, or are you eating food extremely on time? Because if you are probably living in a family or people together, and if you are the only person who is getting vitamin D and B12 deficiency, that means it is not that the food or something does not contain this. It's probably because your digestion, absorption, or assimilation might be going wrong somewhere. Okay, so I would say this would be a good way of looking at it, and I would see in a way, if the body is balanced and a lot of things are happening in a balanced way, your body knows how to heal itself and take whatever it needs. So I basically tell people to three things. Okay, let's put it this way: you have to exercise moderately on a regular basis. You have to sleep really well. In the sense, you have to sleep early and sleep really well throughout the night. I mean, in the sense, sleep without guilt. And the third thing is that eat decent, good food, which you're traditionally used to, on time. Okay, no overeating, no multiple time eating, and all those things. So if these three things are done in balance, most of your issues will go down. And probably if you're really deficient, I would say, if you're really deficient, then I don't say it's not a problem if you supplement yourself, but still you should think, why are you going wrong? I personally feel that there might be something happening in your lifestyle which is pulling it down. Stress also is a factor which will affect your metabolism. Currently, I apply Sorial on the days I take head bath. Can a small amount be applied daily or limited to the days taking head bath? I would say you can apply it on a regular basis. Okay, it'll definitely help you get rid of the itchy scalp or the mild flaky scalp. Yes, you can apply it on a regular basis. Rub it in really well. Okay, leave for about 45 minutes. And if you want to wash, you can wash. Or I would say you can use a wet towel to wipe your hair also. That's not a problem. Okay. Kamal Nath. When I underwent Snehavasti at a hospital at the year start of taking Vasti, I was lying in the bed and urged to pass out only when it came after 2 hours. Vasti was given for 4 days. Snehavasti, right? Yeah. So Snehavasti coming out after 4 hours, coming out after 8 hours, or not even coming out is not a problem, as I said, Kamal Nath. But if it's a Kashaya Vasti, you would have been in trouble, because the extreme, when you look at the text, I've not seen that, but I've seen people pass out and things, stuff like that, where we have to force them, we have to push, you have to put a varti, what do you call that, inside the anal to irritate and, to get suppository. You had to put a suppository to get the vasti out of the system. Otherwise, the book says the first 45, the first muhurta is for the vasti dravya to come out, and as time passes, the second muhurta is the time of death. Probably death can also happen, but I've not seen that. But complications, I've really seen people really going crazy and people passing out and all we have seen. Okay, so I would say that Kashayavasti has to come out. If Snehavasti doesn't come out also, it's okay. During any of the Vasti procedure, we use Sitaram, as far as my knowledge goes, we don't use any heavy metals. It's all herbal. I can tell you sometimes, I don't say it's all herbal. Sometimes we use milk also. Sometimes we use gomutra also. There's a Vasti called Vaitarana Vasti where we use gomutra also. But by and large, everything are all natural processes. There's one interesting thing. Okay, if you look at the textbook, okay, Makshikam, Lavanam, Sneham, Kalkam, Kwatham, there are basically 5 ingredients in a Kashaya Vasti. Snehavasti is oil and a little bit of salt in it, and you heat it mildly and give it. But in a Kashaya Vasti, you've got 5 ingredients. Okay, Makshikam, honey, Lavanam, salt, Sneham is the oil, is the paste of herb, and then Kwatham. Kwatham is a Kashaya or any liquid, whichever you want. So there is a specific order in which you have to mix. This is the order: honey, Makshikam, Lavanam, salt, Sneham, oil, Kalkam is a paste, and then the Kashayam. If you pour the Kashayam and mix it in different orders, you will see that it does not mix really well. But if you keep on mixing it in this order, you'll see that by and large the mixture is homogeneous. You don't see something too much of oil floating or honey in that part of it. Actually mixes really well. So I don't know how Acharya found that. So that is the order in which you mix. And heavy metal, I have not seen any Vasti people adding heavy metal. Karthik. Okay. So why Ayurveda manufactured by Dudh Papash etc. had Magaradhwaj and Bhasma as an ingredient like Musli Pak, special Chanaprashan, Kerala only cortical manufacture Magaradhwaj. So Kerala doctors. No, very rarely, Magaradhwaj or Siddha Magaradhwaj are things which people use in Kerala. I'll tell you, see, there is nothing right or wrong in what all these things. In the sense, when you come to a part like Kerala, okay, the greenery or the availability of raw materials, I mean herbs, are very high. Rains are good. You get fresh herbs. So as I said, it's always good for you to use food or medicine, whatever grows around you. So in Kerala, when people fall sick, we use all the herbs which grow around us. Okay, so if you look at the earlier texts like Charaka, Ashtanga, Hridaya, you will see more and more of herbal products. Very rarely you might see iron or something, very rarely here and there, but by and large it used to be herbal. And in Kerala, since we have got herbs are available in plenty, we use a lot of herbs. Okay, but when you go up north, like places called Rajasthan or UP or there, where vegetation is not that good, but still see Ayurveda has to work, That is where Rasa Shastra actually came into being. Like Rasa means mercury, Rasa Shastra is the usage of mercury and other metals. It is perfectly okay. Okay, it is not against the principles of Ayurveda. So whatever, so what, they did not have plants, so they had minerals, which they were rich in minerals. So they started using minerals instead of the herbs, or they use a mixture of herbs and minerals. That is perfectly fine. And I would say that companies like whatever it is, Dudh Papeshwar, are good companies. When they manufacture these mineral products really well, you don't get heavy metal poisoning, anything, But it's not that they don't have, it's not that even herbal products don't have side effects. Yes, if you use the right herbs in the right dose for the right period of time, it's fine. People believe that Ayurvedic products don't have side effects. No. Okay, the thing is that if you use the wrong medicine, then you might not get a good result, you might get a bad result. Okay, so I would say herbal mineral products also, if manufactured the right way, you will not have free metals in it, you will not have heavy metal poisoning. It is very safe to take, provided you are under a medical supervision, good doctor who gives you the right dose with the right anupana for the right amount of time. So Chavanaprasha with Magaradhwaja and all are things which they have innovated and does things, but otherwise, if you look at the textbook, you don't have any of those Magaradhwaja, Siddha Magaradhwaja, or any other metals in it. But I would not say those are wrong. Okay. Only thing is that if the manufacturer is good, the medicines are safe. Okay. And it should be doctor prescribed. Bhupendra, if someone has constipation, you are recommended to have castor oil and ghee. Do we have warm water on top of this? Yes. See, if somebody, I don't recommend what do you call castor oil and ghee for everybody who's got constipation. I would say if the person has got predominantly vata and the gut is dry, okay, then when the gut is dry, opposite of dry in English is wet, but as far as the Ayurvedic science goes, opposite of dry, that is ruksha, is snigdha, that is lubricating. So if you drink water, yes, your peristalsis would happen, but a dry gut is not taken care of. So you start with castor oil. Just listen to this. You start with castor oil, okay, followed by a glass of warm water is fine. Or you can mix it with the milk also. So you start with castor oil, only castor oil, and then after a point, once your motions start getting better, you add 1/4 part of that. You reduce that castor oil to 3/4 and add the remaining 1/4 ghee. And then after some time, you reduce it to half and half ghee, half castor oil, half ghee. Then 1/4 castor oil, 3/4 ghee. Then you can cut down the castor oil and you can maintain with ghee, provided your gut is dry. Okay, not for all people. I read castor oil cannot be consumed more than a particular number of days. What about medicines containing castor oil like Sukumara, Ghazal, does it? See, castor oil as such, that's the reason why I said you slowly add something into it and then make it only ghee. So Sukumaram Ghazam, yes, Sukumaram Ghazam contains castor oil, but it is not only castor oil. Okay, medicated castor oil like Gandharva Hastadi castor oil, we give for months. It is absolutely no problem. But but I would say the doctor should know why he's giving that castor oil. Okay, and then how to slowly, if not needed, how to slowly wean him off the castor oil or reduce the dose. Probably in such a way that it does not create too much of a problem. But castor oil, when medicated, can be consumed for a long time, and as such, castor oil is not something which is really bad if you take it for a long time. Okay, because castor is something, when you take the castor oil, it is something which is automatically purified. Okay, it does not have too much of poison effects. Okay. What are some known complications of Vasti procedures? One has to know. Have you seen any severe cases with complex like Matra Vasti and all? You will not have too much of issues. It's a small thing, But if you give a proper Kashaya Vasti, yes, I've seen complications where people just pass out, and it can happen with people who have, even after 10 minutes. So normally what we do is, for Kashaya Vasti, you give a Kashaya Vasti, and if it is there for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it is more than enough. Effect is actually good. Okay, it is not like, let us, some people say, no, let me hold it because, I've gone through the Vasti, let me hold it for as much as I can, For them, I don't know whether they feel, Anyway, I'm paying for this, let me take maximum use out of it. It doesn't work like that. So if the person has been holding it for 5 7 minutes, then we tell them, you get up and start walking. The moment he gets up and starts walking, he'll feel the urge and he'll pass. So things that you'll really see, reeling. I've seen people sweat profusely. I've seen people also knock off, severe stomach pain, and all those things we have seen. Okay, those things can be managed, but the textbook says death also, which I have not seen or I have not heard. Okay, because we don't wait that long nowadays. 10 15 minutes, we ask the person to get up and walk. Okay, so no other questions. So this is about Vasti. Is anything else still there, or probably we can meet next week? So hereafter I'll be there every week. Okay, Tuesday at 9 p.m. and we can discuss on some other topic. So next week might be what do you call? We'll talk about Rakta Moksha next week. Yeah, yes, for metabolic disease such as diabetes, we can give a Vasti, but you should notice that uh, the moment the person becomes diabetic, the strength of the person actually goes down. But if it's in the first stage, where we call it the kapha stage, there are vastis which we give to get the kapha out. Gomutra vasti can be done for people. The lekhana vasti, we call that. Where we get the kapha out of the system. Initial stages of when a person is borderline, and he's tending to get diabetic, then we can definitely do a vasti over there. But if the disease has progressed, then I would say his metabolism is gone for a toss, and he might not have the strength to go through that vasti. That's all. I don't normally do too much of vasti, but virechana is something which we do for people with what do you call prameha, diabetes. Yeah, thank you, Bhupendra. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Cynthia, when would you prescribe musta? It's a good question. Okay, so if you look at musta, Charaka Samhita says, Agre Aushadhas have been mentioned. Agre Aushadhas in the sense, what is the best for what? If you say for what do you call Rakta Pitta, what is the best herb for Rakta Pitta? Vagbhata, see, Charaka says Vasa. Adatora Vasika. Vasa is best for Rakta Pitta. What is the best for Vata Rakta? Guduchi is best for Vata Rakta. Like he has mentioned so many things, okay, for different conditions. Likewise, when he's spoken about Jwara or fever, so he's asked, what is the Agre Aushadha for Jwara? Musta and Parpata. Parpata is a grass. Musta and Parpata are the Agre Aushadhas for Jwara. So we sometimes prescribe Musta Kashayam for fevers. It is an amazing Ama Haradrivya, and it brings the Ama down really well, and it promotes Agni. And the main reason for Jwara itself is Ama. Okay. I'll tell you how what I do is I do sometimes get case. Recently, there was a case which a child, might be about 18 or 19. She had come to me. She was telling that she had fever for the past 6 months. Okay, low grade fever. Every day she feels feverish, but other things are all okay. So they ran through tests and tests and tests. Everything was fine. They were not able to find out. So then the doctor said, "Let us see. Let us wait if something." And she was on antibiotics consistently, and nothing worked. So when she came to me, for us, it is Purana Jwara. It's been for more than 6 months, 7 months. It's called Purana Jwara. That means the Jwara has reached the Vata stage. Okay. So for me, when something reaches a Vata stage, that means the Jwara, fever, actually burns out all the dhatus because of the heat. So all the dhatus have been burnt and denourished. Okay. I hope you're able to understand this. And then, it's become extreme Vata. Patient is tired, doesn't have energy to do anything, doesn't have any mood to anything. That is where I prescribe Musta and Parpata. Okay, I told them to go and get Musta. Okay, Parpata might not be very easy for them to get. Musta is available in your backyard or even in any shop. Go take Musta, crush it, boil it in about 400 ml of milk, plus another 400 ml of water. Reduce it to 400 ml. That means you have got only the milk quantity, and drink that might be 3 to 4 times a day. Within a week, the fever. She's not had fever after that for the past 3 months. Okay. So only thing is, one thing is that you should understand that since all that is the time, Purana Jwara is the time where you introduce milk. Or it is the right time for you to give milk. Okay, in a Jwara. How can you give milk in Jwara? You can give it when it is Purana Jwara. And what I thought is Musta has been mentioned as the Agriya Aushadha for Jwara. So Musta processed milk was chosen. Hope that would help, Cynthia. Okay. Can elderly person like 75-year-old be given Vasti? Normally we say 10 to 70. Okay. Then again, it depends upon the disease, and it also depends upon the strength of the person. Yes, you can push it, but I would say be slightly careful. Give small doses. Snehavasti can be given in small doses, even till the age of 99. I've got a patient in Thailand who is about 90, 92, and we give Snehavasti thrice a week now. Okay, so that can definitely be given, but Kashayavasti you should be very careful because the strength of the person might not be very good. Why Ark preparations are not usually preferred by Kerala Vaidyas? It's actually a good question. I'll tell you for people who don't know what is Arka is. Okay, Arka is distillation. Okay, like how you take alcohol from, how you extract alcohol from something. You ferment something and you heat it, the alcohol escapes and you capture it. That is basically that's how you when you distill that's how you distill. When you distill and take the medicinal extract out of it, that's called arka. Okay. And very very rarely people use arka. I don't know why. Okay, because we have not been exposed to arka. Even in our BMS courses, we are not exposed too much to arka preparations. And for your kind information, we believe that Arka Shastra is one of the authentic books written on the Arka Prayoga, and it is written by Ravana Prabhu. Okay, so that we believe that he is the first person who distilled and got pure alcohol out of fermented juices. Okay, so I don't know why people don't use it, but it's as I said, it is habit. We don't use too much of, and arka by and large is not being used too much in any part. Now people have started using it, yes, and they're very effective. Okay. So glad to see you. Hope you, I'm doing much better, Rohit. Okay, I've not been permitted to travel till the end of June. I've slowly started walking with help. Let's see. It's just time, and that's the reason why you can see all these things growing, enjoying. Okay, yeah, Cynthia, thank you. Okay, could you please talk about the Dashamula? See, Dashamula has got a very very wide use. Okay, I can tell you a very short thing, Kamala. Dashamula is, in my opinion, Dashamula is one of the best painkillers which Ayurveda has got. In whatever form you use, it can be given internally, externally. So sometimes the person has got pain, we ask them to do Dashamula Dhara, boil water in Dashamula and do Dhara. So Dashamula Kadutra, now we come back to Dashamula Kadutra and Gashayam, which I mentioned when somebody asked me about their mother having cough with phlegm. Okay, I told Dashamula Kadutra and Gashayam. Dashamula Kadutra and Gashayam, if you go through the application of Dashamula Kadutraya, it has been very specifically told the person has been coughing a lot with a lot of phlegm, and after coughing for such a long time, they start getting pain in the flanks and the sides. Dashamula, because the presence of Dashamula, it works really well. Okay, Dashamula, in my opinion, is an amazing anti-inflammatory and analgesic in Ayurveda, internally and externally. Sitaram Sahu, thank you very much for answering me. And we followers get to meet you in Hyderabad, considering you are an alumni of Prasi. Yes, I am an alumni of the BRKR. Okay, it is not BBK, it's BRKR, Burukula Ramakrishna, the government Ayurveda college in Hyderabad. Yes, I was there from 2001 to 2004. Okay, I used to come to Hyderabad once in a while, but it's too far for me to travel to Hyderabad. Chennai, yes, it's overnight. I take the train and reach there, but Hyderabad seems too far. Yeah, if things are all good, probably I can drop by sometimes and meet a few people there. No problem. Okay. Anyway, if I'm traveling to Hyderabad, I'll let you know. It will be there on my Instagram, and so that you can come and meet me. Okay, Sitaram. Take care. Yeah, Kamalnath. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, so see you next week. Same time with some other topic. No, with Rakta Moksha as the topic. Okay, so that will be the fifth Panchakarma. Okay, bye bye. Good night.